What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. It is Thursday, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the breakdown for the Seattle Seahawks game that's coming up this week. And I also want to do some quick Atlanta Falcons news and notes here. First off, before I get into the Seattle Seahawks game, um, the news that's come out this week is, of course, I already stated in my last video that we did trade Mohamed Sanu for a second-round pick to the New England Patriots, and that's now been sealed, and he's now in New England. So it has been confirmed. Also, I believe yesterday or the day before, they said that we worked out a couple of defensive ends. Shane Ray, another guy named Archer. His last name is Archer, and another guy. So it does look like we're trying to improve the pass rush or bring in some guys. Personally, I would bring in or sign Shane Ray. I hope we don't do like we've done in the past, where we stand pat and we don't add anything to the team. We just continue to work guys out but not bring in anybody new or sign anybody new. I do believe that Shane Ray would be able to help our pass rush. Coming out of college, he did go to Missouri University, and he was a solid guy coming out, or he was a high draft pick coming out. He was drafted by the Denver Broncos, and I believe he had some substance abuse issues, and that's the reason that the Broncos end up cutting him. So he's not on anybody's team right now. I would like the Falcons to bring him in, even if it's on just like a 1-year deal or a veterans minimum type deal, where at this point we can't do any worse than the Falcons are already doing as far as our pass rush. Vic Beasley hasn't done well this year, and pretty much not just to call out Vic Beasley, but nobody on the defensive line other than Grady Jarrett really has played solid or done anything as far as sacking the quarterback. We've had a couple pressures by Pat McKinley and Vic Beasley and Jarrett, but within the last, I think it's been 4 games, we haven't had a sack. The last time our team actually had a sack was against the Indianapolis Colts and Jacoby Brissett, which was like I think it was about 4 games ago. So this pass rush, I believe we're last in the league in sacks. We only have 5 sacks on the year, which is disappointing. So let's jump right into it. That's all the news and notes that I have. Is the Mohamed Sanu trade, which everybody know happened at the beginning of this week. And then I believe it was on like Tuesday, we worked out Shane Ray and a guy last name Orchard and another guy. I don't know the 2 other guys. I'm not really familiar with them, but I am familiar with Shane Ray, and I know he is a solid player. He was an excellent college player, and he was a decent player for the Denver Broncos. He just struggled with drug use, or substance abuse. So he had got suspended and all of that. So let's hop right into this thing. This game against the Seattle Seahawks. First, I guess I'll go ahead and address the Seattle Seahawks, and then I'll talk about keys to victory for our Falcons. So with the Seattle Seahawks, everything starts and ends with Russell Wilson on offense. He's excellent at getting outside the pocket. I believe he's thrown like 17 touchdowns and 1 interception on the year. So he's really balling out this year. He's like an MVP candidate at this point. He's definitely a top 5 quarterback in the league, if not top 3 at this point in his career. He's excellent. He's not rattled. He scrambles around. He's probably the best quarterback that we've seen so far this year, other than Deshaun Watson. He's one of the better quarterbacks, and he's a veteran quarterback. A lot of the quarterbacks we face early on are younger quarterbacks, but Russell Wilson at this point is a veteran. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, or won a Super Bowl. Dan Quinn is very familiar with him and the Seattle Seahawks because he was their defensive coordinator the year that they won the Super Bowl, and also the year that they went back to the Super Bowl and they lost to the Patriots. So Dan Quinn is very aware of how good Russell Wilson is, and the off-schedule plays with Russell Wilson scrambling out the pocket. That's something that he does a lot. So we have to be prepared. We haven't done a good job this year in facing mobile quarterbacks. We really have struggled. We made Kyler Murray look very good against us. So I'm really concern going into this game. Not too worried about the game in general when it comes to losing the game at this point, because we are sitting at 1-6 at this point, and we're just trying to break this losing streak. We're on a 5-game losing streak since we beat the Philadelphia Eagles in week 2. We're trying to turn it around. Julio Jones had an inspirational speech in the locker room after the game last Sunday against the Rams, where we were embarrassed and basically beat down by the LA Rams at home. Hopefully they come out and play with heart as they have done in the past, but hopefully Julio Jones' words resonated with the team. And let's jump right into the Seattle defense, because basically on offense, it's mainly everything runs through Russell Wilson. They do have Chris Carson, I believe his name is, who's their running back, and he's an excellent power back. He's a hard guy to bring down, so we're definitely going to have to come with our leverage and our pad level, be ready to tackle, gang tackle, because it's going to be hard to get Chris Carson down with one tackler. We're going to need to get multiple hats to the ball. Also on their team, they do have Tyler Lockett, who's a deep threat and an excellent special teams returner. So we have to watch out for him, because he loves to go deep down the field for those deep passes when Russell Wilson breaks out and starts those off-schedule plays. Tyler Lockett is one of the best at doing that, going deep and catching a lot of tricky passes. And he's excellent at when the ball is in the air. He's excellent at tracking the ball deep. So whoever's back there in the secondary this week, we definitely have to be prepared for Tyler Lockett, especially on them plays where Russell Wilson is improvising back there and dancing around and running outside of the pocket, because most of the times when Russell Wilson breaks the pocket, he doesn't look to run. He looks to throw the ball deep. So you got to be prepared for that. They do also have DK Metcalf, who is their number 1 pick this year. He's a big receiver. He's also another receiver that can go deep. If you've seen him in the NFL Combine, he ran like the fastest 40-yard dash. He had the best vertical leap, and he's an excellent specimen. He is definitely one of the best athletes we have in the NFL at this point. I believe he goes about 6'4" or 6'3". He's very tall. He's raw. He's still learning how to run the route tree, but he's still an excellent receiver, and he's another guy that in open field it's hard to tackle him because he's a very big and strong guy. So we definitely have to get multiple players to the ball in this game. We have to wrap and roll, as they were taught by Dan Quinn. We have to be ready to wrap him up in the open field. But for their offense, that's mainly it. They don't throw the ball a lot to their tight ends. They do have this guy named Disley. I don't know if he's hurt, but early in the season I did watch a couple Seattle games, and their tight end Disley is also underrated. He's up and coming tight end for them. So that's basically it for their offense. They like to run the ball first, and then they like to set up play action. So they definitely are a run first team, just like when they had Marshawn Lynch. They love to run the ball with Chris Carson. Last year in the NFL, they were the number 1 rushing team in the Seattle Seahawks, and I believe they're like a top 5 rushing team again this year with Russell Wilson running and with Chris Carson running the ball. Now let's go on the defensive side. On the defensive side for Seattle, they're another fast and physical defense. As I told you, Dan Quinn basically took everything he learned from Seattle and brought it here to Atlanta. So we're basically the east or southern version of the Seattle Seahawks. They have fast linebackers. It all starts with KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner, who's probably the best linebacker in the game at this point. He's very physical. Him and KJ Wright both fly around to the ball. They're excellent tacklers and excellent in coverage. Their front seven is really good. On the defensive ends, they lost Frank Clark to the Kansas City Chiefs, but they did bring in Ziggy Ansah from the Detroit Lions, who's an excellent pass rusher. And then they traded for Jadeveon Clowney from the Houston Texans, who's also very dangerous and can be dangerous in this game. So hopefully Caleb McGarry went back and watched some tape on what he did wrong in his technique last week against Fowler, and hopefully he's prepared in this game to use all of the tricks of the trade that he's learned. I do like what I'm seeing out of Caleb McGarry as a rookie in this league. He is learning every week. The Rams probably have one of the best defensive lines in the game. Seattle is also a very good defensive line as well. They have a big nose tackle who's also very aggressive. I forget his name. I don't believe it's Reader. I think Reader is the guy that plays for the Texans. But they do have a guy on their team as well that's solid in the middle. It's a big guy that goes about 320, and he can definitely penetrate and try to stop the run. In their secondary, they pretty much are young back there in the secondary. They have a guy named Flowers. They have the twin Griffin, Shaq Griffin, who's an excellent cornerback as well. But of course, they lost Earl Thomas, so their secondary is not as solid as it once was. But it's still a pretty decent secondary. They're very young in their secondary, like the Atlanta Falcons. But what they like to do is bring pressure up front with their front four and front seven. And they like to drop guys back in that cover three in that soft zone. But they're a very physical team, and they're very opportunistic. So we have to be ready in this game for our Atlanta Falcons. And that's pretty much it for their defense. I mean, Bobby Wagner is the star over there on that defense and the captain. Him and KJ Wright, those are the veteran guys and the edge rushers. So Jake Matthews, I hope he went back and watched tape. And I hope Caleb McGarry, I hope they come to play. I'm not too sure if James Carpenter at guard is playing in this game. But if he's not playing in this game, Wes Schweitzer is definitely going to need to be ready to help Alex Mack in the middle with those nose tackles that they have. And we probably going to need to chip on the defensive ends, both on Ansah and on Jadeveon Clowney. Before Hooper goes out for a route, or before the running back goes out on a route, Devontae Freeman, they may want to chip and then go out for their routes. But that's pretty much it for the Seattle defense and for Seattle altogether. Our keys to victory in this game. For the Atlanta Falcons, as always, we're going to need to get out to a fast start. As you know, I don't believe that Matt Ryan will play in this game. He is battling a high ankle sprain, which he got last game against the Rams. So I do believe that it's going to be Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub has been a Pro Bowler, two-time Pro Bowler in this league, playing with the Houston Texans. And he's a solid backup quarterback. I don't believe he's a starter in this league, but he's definitely a solid backup. He's been on the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, for like the last 3 or 4 years when he came back to us after leaving the Houston Texans. So he's a solid guy. He's up there in age, probably like in his 30s, mid-30s, like Matt Ryan. He's up there in age at this point. But he's a solid quarterback. We shouldn't have to change the playbook, really. He should know the same plays that Matt Ryan knows at this point. And I believe he's getting all the first-team snaps this week because Matt Ryan hasn't practiced at all this week with the high ankle sprain. And like I said in my other video, I wouldn't rush Matt Ryan back. I don't want to see Matt Ryan play in this game unless he's completely healthy because I don't want to see him get injured worse. I feel like he just needs to rest that ankle for the next 2 weeks because we have this game and then we have our bye week. And then we get ready to take on the New Orleans Saints. So I like to see him come back against the Saints in about 2 weeks. I think he should just rest that high ankle sprain, get treatment, and don't worry about coming in and trying to play in this game. Because at this point, at 1-6, it is what it is. It's not impossible. We're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but we really need some help from the Saints and from the Panthers. We need them to start losing games. Even if we beat both of those teams twice, and sweep our division and win all 6 games, still doesn't guarantee us to make the playoffs because those guys, all of the teams right now are out to a big lead. I believe the Saints are like 6-1, the Panthers are 4-2, and I think the Buccaneers are 2-4. So at 1-6 at this point, we're gonna let the chips fall where they may. I do believe that we have a chance of winning this game or still in this game, even if we play Matt Schaub, because we have a high-powered offense no matter who's orchestrating the offense. I think Matt Schaub is decent, but all of this, Matt Schaub is better than Matt Ryan. We need to put all of that to bed. He's a backup for a reason. Matt Schaub was here when Michael Vick was here as a backup, so he's definitely not Matt Ryan's job is definitely not on the line when it comes to Matt Schaub. It's no threat there, and Matt Ryan knows that, and everybody in the Atlanta Falcons organization knows that. So it's no big deal for all of those fans that were talking about last game when Matt Schaub came in and went right down and scored. That was definitely against the backups of the Rams. They had pulled Aaron Donald and Fowler and all those guys, Brockers, they had pulled pretty much all of their starters in the front seven. So when they went down and scored that last touchdown, it was basically pointless. It was in garbage time. So if you're looking at that and assuming that Matt Schaub would give Matt Ryan a run for his money for the starting position, we can put all of that to bed. Even if they go on a win streak, they're not going to keep Matt Schaub out there over Matt Ryan because he's not a better quarterback. So we can go ahead and just put that to bed for all the Matt Ryan haters out there. You need to be drug tested if you think that Matt Schaub is better than Matt Ryan. But anyways, going forward, like I said, keys to victory. We definitely need to get out to a fast start. We need to try to play with the lead in this game and then try to turn loose that pass rush and make teams one-dimensional. I've been stating this for the whole season as a keys to victory as far as getting off to a fast start and being able to let those defensive ends and Vic Beasley and Pat McKinley and Grady Jarrett make teams one-dimensional so they can just go and rush the passer. It's really hard when you're playing from behind, and that's what we've been doing all season. I don't think we've went into halftime with a lead in any of our games this year, and that's really sad, and that's the reason I feel like we're sitting at 1-6. It's not all doom and gloom. I do believe this team is going to come out and play hard. Like I said, when Julio speaks, his words resonate through the locker room. He's not somebody that talks all the time. He's a very quiet superstar, and he leads by going in and putting in the hard work. He's one of those, I'm going to show you how I work, and he doesn't do much talking. And Matt Schaub said that in one of his press conferences this week, that when Julio Jones speaks, you listen because he doesn't speak a lot. He talked about him being a very mild-mannered guy, doesn't talk a lot. Even on the field, he really doesn't talk. And I've heard cornerbacks say that when they talk trash to him, Julio rarely talks trash back or rarely says anything. Normally, he just flips the ball to the ref and goes about his business. It's rare that he gets caught up in the back and forth with cornerbacks and things of that nature. And he rarely speaks in the locker room. He's the type of leader that goes out and works hard, and he tries to prove it by working. That's how he sets an example, by showing you how he works. So I will look for Julio Jones to have a big game in this game. I also look for guys to step up. Calvin Ridley should get more targets now that Mohamed Sanu is gone. I like what I'm seeing out of Russell Gage, who's probably going to play a lot of slot at this point. He looked good last week. He had a nice contested catch where he was hit really hard coming across the middle. I think it was Eric Weddle or somebody that hit him last game, and he held onto the ball. And in preseason, he made a lot of spectacular catches before he got injured with Russell Gage. So I like what I've seen out of Russell Gage. I've loved what I've seen out of Austin Hooper. And I feel like that was another reason that we went ahead and let go of Mohamed Sanu, because Austin Hooper, we are going to have to pay him because his contract, I believe, is up after this season. So we're going to definitely have to give him a big contract because teams will want Austin Hooper because he's one of the top 5 tight ends in this game at this point. And he's proven that he's a security blanket like Tony Gonzalez was for Matt Ryan. When Matt Ryan's in trouble, he does look to Hooper in the dump down situations, in the quick passes, and he also looks for Freeman in those quick passes. So hopefully in this game we can get our running backs going on some quick passes. Also, I'm looking forward to Brian Hill getting some more snaps. He looked good last week in the 4 or 5 snaps that he got when he carried the ball. He was running with aggression. Hopefully this gives him a chance with Ito Smith being injured. And I forgot to mention in my last video that I hope Ito Smith is doing well and getting better. It looked like he had a concussion, and they say he had a stinger. But the guy last week just basically ran him over when he was trying to pass block. And this is something that I would like to throw out there that I've been meaning to say in my videos. I don't know why with Dirk Cutter, and when we know we're passing the ball, if it's a protection situation and the running back is not going out for a route, why don't you just put Keith Smith, who was our fullback in the game, or Brian Hill, one of the bigger running backs that actually can block these linebackers and defensive linemen? Because when Freeman tries to block and when Ito Smith tries to block, most of the time they just get blow up in the backfield. They're very small guys. Both of them go like 5. I believe Freeman goes like 5'8", 185 or 190. And Ito Smith is even smaller than that. I think he's like 5'6" or 5'7". And he's even lighter than that. He goes about 180, or 185 as well. So I don't know why in the world we have these small running backs trying to pass protect in the first place. So that's just a bad coaching by Dirk Cutter to not put in either H back like a tight end, like a Jalen Graham or Luke Stalker. Put one of those guys in the backfield and let them pass block, because they can also go out and catch screen passes and things of that nature. So if you just want an extra guy in protecting, take these running backs out of the game because they're too little. Last game proved it when Ito Smith basically got run over by a linebacker, and it was just vicious. If you would have seen the hit, it was vicious the way that I think it was Littleton, which is the middle linebacker for the Rams, or one of those guys, basically just came right through the T-Fire defense and ran Ito Smith over. So he's too little to be trying to pass block. Let's get some bigger guys back there. If you're a smart coach, you'll put either the fullback back there or somebody that's used to blocking consistently. Because Freeman and Ito Smith, that's the weakest part of their games. They're not blocking running backs. They don't need to be in pass protection at all. But as I was saying before, in this game, I'm looking for us to get off to a quick start for the keys to victory. I'm looking for the defense to cause a turnover, maybe an interception, a sack fumble. I'm hoping for the best. Hopefully we can end this streak of not having any sacks in a game. Hopefully we can bring some more pressure, because last game I love the blitz that I seen from Aluakon, a Foyer. He had a nice where we brought pressure. We brought like 5 people and he came on a delayed blitz. It was excellent. Then I saw another delayed blitz where Demonte Casey came from the cat position, from his cornerback position, and came in with a cat blitz or a cornerback blitz, where he came from the outside. The quarterback didn't see him to the last minute, and he came blitzing up the middle and hit Jared Goff, causing an incomplete pass. So I like what I saw out of our defense a little bit last week. I did see some improvements. I did see a lot more man-to-man coverage. Kendall Sheffield looks like he's improving every game. He's doing better and better. The coverage looked tighter last game. The only player that I really seen in coverage that was struggling was the linebackers, Devondre Campbell, as usual in this so far this year, and Jamal Carter. Jamal Carter, which is number 35 for our team, he started to get some minutes last week, and he was burned on a couple plays by Everett, who was the tight end for the Rams. So I don't necessarily say I don't want to see any Jamal Carter in this game, but I feel like we should just move Demonte Casey back to the safety position, the free safety position, because we've seen last year when he was back in the safety position where he could roam, he was making plays. So I would like to see the combination of Ricardo Allen and Casey more at safety, and then I would just throw in Aluakon. I would make him the starter. I would go ahead and bench Devondre Campbell for Aluakon, because at this point, Aluakon has showed he's better in coverage. He looked good. He looked faster. He looks more fresh than Devondre Campbell, and he's just a smarter player IQ-wise than Devondre Campbell. He doesn't miss assignments on the most part. So I would go ahead and throw Aluakon in there. I would bring more blitzes like we seen last game. I would still play Jamal Carter, but I'll put him in maybe at a linebacker position where he's playing more in the box, and I will continue to sub him and Kamal Ishmael in and out at this point. Or I would let Kamal Ishmael play a little bit of linebacker if you don't want to play Aluakon. But I feel like Aluakon is a better linebacker than Kamal Ishmael. At this point, we've seen what teams have done to us, so it's almost like I'm repeating stuff over and over in these videos. I mean, teams are going after Devondre Campbell in coverage. They're going after Jamal Carter now, and they're going after Kamal Ishmael, because those are our players. Those are the positions where we have backup players playing. If that was Keanu Neal out there and he wasn't injured, trust me, teams wouldn't be throwing the ball to these tight ends as well as they're doing it. They still would try it, but they wouldn't be able to pick on the same player like that, like they're doing right now. Right now, they know that Kamal Ishmael is a below-average player at the safety position. They know that Jamal Carter is a very new player who's still developing. They know that Isaiah Oliver is still developing. So they're going at those guys. It's not pretty much anything that we can do about that. I mean, they're going at those guys. The only thing we can try to do is disguise it as best we can. It looked like the zone coverage was a little bit better last game. It wasn't as many blown coverages. It just looks like guys were just losing one-on-one battles. Like Jamal Carter versus Everett, when he was matched up man-to-man, he was being burned. Same thing with Devondre Campbell, and I'm sorry, y'all. Devondre Campbell, he was in the same breath. He was being beat 1-on-1. Deion Jones looked excellent in man-to-man coverage, as he always does. As he always does. But, like I said, in this game, I'm just looking for our Falcons to come out, play hard. Like I said, I do not want us to start tanking and then start playing backups and all of that like this is preseason or something like that. I feel like we still need to try to win these games. And the best franchises, they put their best players out there. They put their best foot forward. Winning organizations try to win every single game. We don't want to create a bad habit of trying to lose games like the Dolphins are doing. That's a very sticky situation what the Miami Dolphins are doing, and a lot of teams that have been doing that, tanking games. Once you build that kind of culture in your locker room that you're not trying to win, that seeps through the whole organization, and you become a laughingstock. And that's what I talked about in my last videos, that when I was talking about firing Dan Quinn and things of that nature. We don't want to become a laughingstock team and franchise where every couple years we're switching coaches. We're trying to tank to get players, because the reason I state that is I hear a lot of people saying they want the guy Chase Young out of Ohio State. To be honest, we don't know how good Chase Young is going to be, so why tank for this guy? We don't know how good none of these guys. We don't know how good Tua Tagovailoa, the guy quarterback for Alabama. So all of these teams that are tanking, like the Dolphins, that's a very sticky situation. I feel like you should never let go of good players just for the sake of attempting to lose games and tank. I feel like you always should take those players that you have and build upon it. So all of those fans that I'm seeing talking about we should go ahead and tank and we should trade, like no players untradeable. We should trade Julio and we should try to build this thing from the ground up. We should trade Matt Ryan. I don't want to see the Falcons do that. I feel like this is not a complete rebuild. I do feel like we need to make some adjustments, and we need to kind of reconstruct the team a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, in the trenches, as far as the defensive line and offensive line. Continue to add to the offensive line as we did in the offseason, even though we had these injuries. I would like us to add another guard for this Atlanta Falcons team. On defense, I would like us to bring in some more physical guys and some bigger guys to play the nose tackle, somebody to play on the other side of Grady Jarrett, and bring in another defensive end, maybe a bigger guy, or bring in like a Von Miller. Like if we can trade for like a Von Miller, I seen them talking about that on the NFL Network, bringing in Von Miller. I would love that if we could bring in Von Miller, maybe trade a first-round pick or some draft picks to get him and bring him to Atlanta. That would be big to have Von Miller, because he's a sack master. He's a sack artist. We've seen what he can do. He helped the Broncos win the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So if we could bring in somebody like a Von Miller in a trade, maybe trade Vic Beasley in a draft pick, I would love to see that. But like I said, we need to beef up in the middle, beef up our defensive line. Like I said, in this game, keys to victory mainly, and I stated it already, get out to a fast start on the offense. Try to play with a lead. Defense, fly around to the ball, multiple hats to the ball at all times. Limit the penalties, holding and dumb penalties, encroachments, offsides. Let's keep all of that to a bare minimum as possible. No holding on the punt returns and kickoff returns. Let's not put our team back. As far as field position is going to be big in this game. We are home in this game, so let's get the crowd going. We will be wearing our black throwback jerseys, so let's get a win in our throwbacks, because it seems like when we wear our throwbacks, we normally lose. So hopefully this game we can turn around and reverse that streak of losing in those throwback jerseys, and hopefully we can come out, cheer on our Falcons fans. Hopefully the crowd comes out. I don't know how many Atlanta Falcons fans will be at this game, because in the last couple games that I've been watching, the stadium has looked empty. It's been looking like a neutral site. It hasn't looked like an Atlanta Falcons home game. So hopefully the fans come out, cheer the team on. Hopefully it's none of that booing going on in this game, where we're booing the players at halftime and booing the players and booing Dan Quinn. Hopefully we can pull it together. Like I said, I would like to see Dan Quinn finish out this season. Even if they lose this game, I would like to see Dan Quinn finish out the season. And I think we should give Dan Quinn another season or two, to get some draft picks under his belt. As I stated before, the problems that I'm seeing with this Atlanta Falcons team is not just coaching. I see mainly that it's personnel. That's the biggest thing. I do see some bad calls by the coaches, by Dirk Cutter, Dan Quinn, some bad defensive calls, and some where we stayed into the zone, that soft zone too long, a couple weeks and things of that nature. But I like the mix up of blitzing and things I saw last game. Like I said, it was a close game at halftime. It was 13-3, where it really could have been 13-6 without Matt Bryan missing that field goal. So it was a competitive game last week in the first half. The second half, it got out of hand. It got out of control. The players got frustrated. Devontae Freeman got kicked out of the game. So hopefully in this game, like I said, we can pull it together. We did also move up Christian Blake on the offense, he's an excellent wide receiver. He's been on the practice squad for a number of years, and he's been on this roster for a number of years. But we had been so deep at receiver that he has never gotten his chance to actually shine or get any playing time in games or get activated. So hopefully if he does get activated, he gets some minutes in this game. Him and Brian Hill, Russell Gage. I want to see what these younger players can do. Same thing on defense. I believe Dan Quinn said it was 50-50 between Jamal Carter and Kamal Ishmael. So at this point, we're just trying things out, experimenting. Like I said, the season isn't over. But at this point, you might as well see what you have. I would go ahead and activate Deidre Sanat, throw him out there, see what he can do. You know, you never know. We might have a diamond in the rough. Like, nobody knew that Grady Jarrett was going to be Grady Jarrett until he got thrown out there on the field, and he proved everybody wrong. So he was an underdog story. So let's see if Deidre Sanat could do that before we just have to get rid of him, because he was, I believe, like a third-round pick. So let's just see what these guys got. That's pretty much all I have for this video. Like I said, Falcons fans, it isn't over. We're 1-6. I'm going to watch every single game this year. I'm going to continue to give y'all the best content for all the Atlanta Falcons fans. Like I said, after this game, we have our bye week. Then we get into the NFC South rivalry games. So it should be a lot of fun heading into the second half of this season. I'm definitely going to continue, like I said, continue to bring you guys the best Atlanta Falcons content. I am a positive Atlanta Falcons content creator. Like I said, go out and support all of our Atlanta Falcons YouTube content creators. Mad Mike Sports, Lieutenant Dan, Jazzy Jeff, Pound for Pound. We just have a ton of guys out here that's doing it. And I always give shout outs to them. I watch their videos and things of that nature as well. They kind of inspired me to do it as well, because I've always loved my Atlanta Falcons. But I've always been good at breaking down the game and breaking down what I see. So like I said, I like what I'm seeing out of this team. If we can get some guys traded, we've been trying to trade Vic Beasley. It doesn't look like anybody. They say it's not really a market out there for him. So how I feel about it is keep him, maybe give him a different role on the team. Maybe put him in on just third downs or something like that and see if he can rush the passer. I've seen some different things from Chuck Smith, who was with the AJC on his podcast, where he's talking about trying to use Vic Beasley like as a free rusher, as a linebacker, where he's just shooting through gaps, where he's doing straight line drive blitzes, and where he's not on the edge and having to bend, because he said Vic Beasley is not that good laterally. So maybe give that a try. You know, try Vic Beasley, and then at the end of this season, we can go ahead and just let him walk. Or if, you know, we want to bring him back, maybe bring him back with it as a veteran's minimum, because of course he's not going to get a giant contract after this season. So we might be able to just keep Vic Beasley on a discount, where he'll be like a second string rusher if we can bring in like a Von Miller, or bring in a guy that's legitimate, you know, a legitimate pass rusher. Or maybe we can draft a Chase Young or somebody like that that's can prove us wrong and that can outplay Vic Beasley. But I would like to see more out of also Tat McKinley in this game. I hope he gets to the quarterback this game, and I hope he plays smart. Same thing out of the guys up front. What's his name? Jack Crawford. I want to see more out of him. But a lot of these guys are on prove-it years. Tat McKinley and Vic Beasley, all these guys still have to prove it, and they're still developing. So hopefully these guys improve. But like I said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Like I said, I don't really have any expectations at this point of sitting at 1-6. I just want our guys to win, and go out there and play their hardest, give it their all. But that's about it. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe to the page. The goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of my subscribers that already have subscribed to the channel. Tell all your Atlanta Falcons friends about the page. Share it to your Facebook groups and things of that nature. Let them know that I'm an up-and-coming YouTuber. excellent content. Send them my way. Like we said, we're all one family, the brotherhood. And like I said, you guys, not looking for too much. Y'all enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the other games that I'll be on. Peace and love. I'll be back probably on Monday. Either Sunday night or Monday. Usually on Monday is when I do my post-game show. So hopefully it's after Atlanta Falcons win. Let's break this 5-game losing streak and at least get a win, get a W, and let the sun shine again. And let's get rid of all of the doom and gloom and bring some happiness to some of our Atlanta Falcons fans that are down right now. But like I said, this is your boy Jew. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can go to the Cash App, $Jew Talk Sports. As always, peace and love. Your boy's out. Peace. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend.